can't see him. I'm off the trail. Excuse me. Is he good? Is he good? Give him a little bit more time. Gotta go. It's coming in. It's moving like a fucking freight train. I just raced it down this way, and it was literally, I could hear a. Okay, well, the last thing we're gonna do is run out of here and act like prey. If we run, it's gonna pursue. Yeah. Okay, so let's just. I just wanted to get back here. I went in.
Was that you that I heard with the crashing noise? No, that was it.
That was chasing me.
I thought that was you.
No, I knew there was something here.
Yeah.
So you didn't do any kind of response?
Okay, I thought that was Quint.
I could have sworn that was Quint too.
Something was chasing me through the trees. It was crashing right through. About 25 yards out. And he was crashing right on my feet.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing.
Literally crashing.
I thought it was him trying to make a response.
Mm-hmm.
But nope.
No, that was me running like a mother. And I heard like some loping. Just boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. I mean,
Right there. What? Squatch, right there.
he's fucking looping down.
It ducked down kind of when I pointed.
Do you want me to shine my bright?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Head height was above the right in
Do
the
you have
little. No,
thermal? Do you have thermal?
not on this.
Well, here's something that we seem to figure out. As far as, I hate calling it gifting, but leave them a little treat out. Is just using a little rubber band like so, and take a Snickers bar, for instance, and put it on a high twig branch, so it's out of reach for bears and raccoons. So
Yep.
if a raccoon comes on this little branch, it's just going to fall off on its own because it's not going to be able to support its weight. So. And then don't open the Snickers bar. That way, it's on an elastic band. You can recover it and eat it on your way out if nothing took it. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's definitely an interesting method.
Another way you can do that too is with the jar of peanut butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a hole in the lid, and then you get that up in the air, and
Screw it back on.
yeah, and if it's unscrewed and gone, then you know you got something that has opposable thumb versus a
Exactly.
hand ripping it down. And I've heard of people doing that. I've actually was going to do that. I raked out an area where I was bear baiting. I raked out the trail, and they're smart. They won't go into that area because they know what you've done. Same thing. Right now, I've got 5 trail cams out, and they're the ones that go right to my phone. And I'm getting a lot of mountain lions, and which mountain lions up here are starting to become more common. They used to be real rare. But I've got several mountain lion photos and a lot of wolves. But Bigfoot, no. He knows that I put these cameras out. He stays away from. I'd love to get a picture of him in one.
Well, some people do, and it's rare. It's rare. Do you guys? What do you guys think about the IR lights on these cameras? Do you think that they can see them at night? And they must.
Well, they are noisy to a point. The cameras
Yeah.
do give off a noise. They'll give off like a vibration. Because I've had deer walk up and just look at the camera.
Yeah.
This is broad daylight. They're not going to see the flash.
Yeah.
And how do they know it's there? You know.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a lot of speculation and stuff about their vision and their hearing. We just don't know enough about what they can see and in what range, I guess you say, in light on the light spectrum that they can see. Can they see in IR or UV, or can they see right along with in our lights? You would think that the way that they travel, they would be able to see more clearly at night. So, with that being said, are they able to see the red glowing IRs of a camera, or especially if you got those newer ones that are completely blacked out where you can't see the IR? Can they still see past that?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, again, with the triggering mechanism of the camera right before it takes off, some are really, really quiet, and some you can actually hear. Can they hear in ultrasonic range, or infrasonic range? So, I mean, it's just really, really hard to tell. Do we know of a primate that can actually see in IR or UV? Do we know the sensitivity of a primate hearing ranger? Not a whole lot. We really don't. I mean, I think more some of those answers or questions we could possibly derive from if somebody, a primatologist, were to maybe test some of that with gorillas or chimps, some of the greater apes, to be honest with you. How can they hear? How good is their hearing? How can they see? I mean, can they see what we can't see with different lights?
Hmm.
We don't know. We just don't know.
Yeah, there's
But you know, I mean, there's somebody put a camera in our house, well, and this is just nothing that's been new. But a lot of people say that if you put a camera in our house or a tree cam, we'd be able to spot that right away. I guess it's kind of the same difference. There's something that's odd that they're not used to in their house or in their backyard or whatever you want to say. They'd be able to pick it up as well. And who knows? There could be a smell associated with that too. Bears, for instance, they smell petroleum that are made in the plastic, and that's why a lot of times bears will attack the tree cameras.
that's true. But if you hang them high enough in the tree, you might be okay.
Hey, yeah, yeah.
So
One thing you got to realize too, just like any animal, when you go into the woods, I'd say 50-60% of the time they know you're there. They either hear the car come in, or the door slam, or they hear you walking. The first one I ever seen, I'd been sitting in a stand for 8 hours, and it walked into my shooting lane at 20 feet away, and it stood and stared at me. And that was the first time I smelled one too. That stunk. The wind was blowing towards me. It never scented me it never knew I was there until I said something. It go, hey, and it turned and looked right at me. This thing, I'll never forget what it looked like the rest of my life. But the point I'm trying to make is I sat there long enough it walked into me, not knowing I was there. Abe and I will go out on a location, We'll get out of the vehicle and we may walk a mile, we may walk a block. But these creatures, if they're in the area, they already know we're there. If we know that for tree knocks we've heard as soon as we got out of the car, we've heard tree knocks more than one occasion. So they're already communicating, hey, there's somebody in our area.
Yeah, they
And
definitely.
and you go in to put up like a trail cam and that, who's to say they're not watching this?
Yeah.
They know where you're putting it. So.
Yep,
Exactly. Well, they're going to learn by repetition, just by watching you guys, or
Yep.
anybody for that matter. So therein lies the question there. What can you do to try and
That is the
mitigate these
question.
things?
Right.
I personally, from my experience, usually early springtime before we get like, let's say in a hardwood forest, usually you don't have a whole lot of understory leafing out in the early part of the spring. Usually you can camp out there and they're going to usually keep their distance because they'll be able to see you from 200 yards away. There's no real need for them to come in like 75 yards away because there's no real great undergrowth that they can hide in and camouflage themselves or, break up their image. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? I think we can get away with a further distance in the springtime as far as putting up tree cameras and have someone keeping an eyeball out while you set up a tree cam, somebody keeping guard, if you will.
You know, I just don't use them. I
Yeah.
don't use tree cameras anymore. I have. I probably had about 6, 8 out and facing each other, going around, facing on baits and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I just don't deploy them anymore. If I were to deploy them, it would be on the campsite because that's, as Earl mentioned, human TV. That's where the curiosity would probably come in. And like you just mentioned, Chris, is that they could see us from our bonfires from 200 yards away or 75 yards away. If they're curious enough, or if there's something that they're smelling that, I mean, let's face it, hunger will bring in anything. If they're hungry enough and they see us, they're going to come in and try to eat what we eat, or maybe find any scraps or leftovers. Um, so, I mean, like working with different scents and different foods, that just may be it. Or they're also children. There's been a lot of reports where children are always running around, screaming, yelling, and laughing, and, and having a great time. And then another on the other side of the coin, women on their menstrual cycles. You know, that could pheromones. That could be another way of hopefully bringing them in close as well. So, but then again, I put out pheromone chips with Great Ape pheromones, who I've got from Dr. Greg Benbenek, and nothing's happened. Uh, you know, children, I haven't really deployed them yet. Right? Yeah. Hey.
But them gals we took out that time, and we had the 3 groups of people.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The 2 younger ones.
I've never heard so many tree knocks, but my impression on that is it's juvenile.
Right. Yeah.
90% of the time it's going to be juveniles, but they're like teenage boys are curious. Juveniles will come out. I'm willing to bet anything that that's mainly what people are seeing are the juveniles. They're the most reckless. They're curious. They want to see what's going on.
Right.
So Abe and I and a few other people took a group of people out to an area.
About 8 people in one of our research locations.
4 gals. And I'm sitting there listening to vocalizations. I'm listening to tree knocks. I'm going, what the heck is going on? I've never heard this much emotion. All the years I've been out in the woods, I've never heard this much going on at once. And the only thing I can come to the conclusion on it was the gals do these things in. I even walked the area the noise was coming from later just to make sure there wasn't somebody in there hoaxing us. And I could not find one sign of anybody that had been in there. There was nobody in there, nothing in there. But we were getting crazy.
If I could maybe interject and ask you guys a question here. Usually when you show up in a spot, they'll announce and communicate with their others with tree knocks, indicating that they might bang it twice if there's 2 people in the area or 3 people. And In our case, when we were entering into one particular spot, we got the Ohio howls, but we got two of them, and there was just two of us walking into the place, and then all of a sudden the Ohio howls go off.
Lucky.
They
Yeah,
were about they're what? Well, the first one was probably about 5 to 7 seconds deeper pitched, and then a higher pitched one right after, probably about 5 seconds long. And of course, I didn't get my
Obviously from two
my
different locations, right? You have one going sounding off on one location and one sounding off the other location.
no, it was the very same location.
Yeah,
Same
we were
location.
we were looking down a railroad line, and we were crossing this railroad. Yeah, and it was at the bend in the track where it turns, and it was just right down there. It seems like they were watching.
Day or night?
Daytime.
Evening. It was still daylight.
Yeah.
Right,
It was
right.
still daylight. It was the sun was almost down. It was still daylight.
Dusk. Right on. Very, very cool. When it comes to wood knocks, who knows what they mean? Who knows
Yeah.
what the number of knocks mean? Who knows if it's hard in a tree? Who knows if it's the tree species of tree itself that they use that sends out a sound, or if they can tell the different sounds of the tree by hitting on that tree that means different things to them. Nobody's ever really thought about any of that. They just say, "Oh, well, we'll hit a tree and we'll try that." But there are different trees out there, different species of trees, and to us, they all sound the same. But maybe to them, they don't sound the same. So, are they using a certain tree to indicate that hey, there's humans out there? Are they using different knocks to say, hey, this is humans are out here? I've got out of the car, like Pop said, we've heard the knocks going off. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's two. Is it indicating that there's one group of people or there's two individuals out here? As far as hearing the Ohio Hall, we were in between two of them when that happened. I got goosebumps going on right now. We were in between two of them sounding off, one from one spot, one from another spot, and it was great. I mean, Pops, he had a thermal imager going on at that time, and he seen something, but yeah, well, there you go. Yeah.
Well, like I say, we heard the two Ohio halls, and it actually one of our team members got so scared he went and got in the vehicle. But anyhow, in the meantime, I'm on a thermal imager, and I could see this thing get up from behind the brush pile and staring in my direction.
How far
And
away?
Abe and another team member were walking in its direction. I could see Abe off in the distance to my left, and this thing was straight in front of me. I want to say probably 50 yards.
Within 50 yards. Yeah.
And all of a sudden it just ducked down and it was gone. I can't say for sure that it was Bigfoot. It could have been a bear. Stood up and was looking at what the heck was the noise was about.
Yeah.
And then got back down and simply crawled off where I could not see it. But I had it good on the thermal imager for about probably a minute or so. I'd say at least that long. Maybe even longer.
Were you able to record anything? Video footage?
No, he didn't. It was his first or second time using the thermal, and the therm does have recording capabilities, but it wasn't. We didn't record it.
I'm
Darn it.
66 years old, so technology, I'm trying to, I'm still used to dial phones,
Rotary phone.
rotary phone. So, I mean, my
You're
kids
past the
got
Morse
me-
code point.
My kids got me a phone a few years ago, so I've been doing stuff with that. But yeah, all this new technology, I'm getting used to. A friend of mine gave me a brand new drone. And what I want to do with the drone is I want to get out to an area and get up in the air simply to find the easiest access way in. Does that mean I'm going to use it on the night that we go out and actually research? No. I'm going to use this drone as a tool I know a couple areas that are really hot spots up there, but to get into them is really tough. I don't want to spend a half a day trying to walk into an area if I can find an easier path. So I got to get flying lessons. This friend of mine's going to give me flying lessons with the drone so I don't crash it. That's something I'm looking forward to using. There's some areas that we actually used a drone in a couple years ago, and I didn't realize there was a lake in this area. And I grew up in this area and hunted and trapped. I never knew there was a lake back there. You learn something new, and that's because of the drone. So, but yeah, the modern technology, I'm trying to catch up to it.
Now you can mount that. You should mount your FLIR up onto your drone too. That's what you have to do next.
Well, there are thermal imaging drones. Yeah.
Oh, we're trying to get one.
We're
but
trying, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
way too expensive right now.
they are. Yeah, you're looking at least 5K, if not more.
American, maybe.
Yeah, up here it's probably around 15.
It's $200 million American.
Yeah, right. Yeah, $200 million. Oh man.
You know, it's just like the trail cams.
Yeah.
So I got 5 of them out, like I say, and they're roughly about 6 to 10 miles from where I live. And prior to doing the show with you guys, I got my phone pinged me. I actually got a picture. It's nothing. But what I like about these trail cams is I haven't been in that area now since November. And I was getting moose in there, pictures of moose, pictures of deer. Now I'm getting mainly wolves. Like I said, picture of the mountain lion, couple bobcat. I like that. I can see what's going on in an area I like to hike around in, knowing that I can't be there right now because of the weather conditions, the trail in there, snow or whatever. But the camera's out there all the time. That's my eyes in the woods.
Yeah.
I like that. To me, that's good technology. Whether you get Bigfoot on there or not, like I say, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Hoping won't get silly and, do a dance or something in front of the camera for me. You never know.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a massive deploy of 48 cameras probably in the next few weeks, anyways. But we're going to have camouflage covers on these things, and we're limiting it to daytime photographs only. So it eliminates any of the IR light. And there's a couple other modifications we did to the cameras to, we're keeping that under a hat right now. But anyways, we're just keeping that under our hat with the other modifications we've done to the cameras. We're going to test the hypothesis, I guess, if you will.
Right. There's things now where you could actually buy lamination that look a lot like bark, depending on the tree, and you can put them all over your cameras too.
Hang on.
Yep.
I was going to do that with birchwood.
We sort of got that already. We got our own
Yeah.
imitation latex bark.
Gotcha.
Get in.
And so the thing is with the latex, I mean, it actually has the texture. It looks a little bit more rough than rather a smoother surface.
Yeah.
Exactly. This one hasn't been painted up yet, but
Okay.
be a little bit
Maybe
darker.
That's
But anyways, there's our camera hole. It'll pop through there, and
I had the same idea with
Yeah.
birch. And then what might help too is you get some of this, like it's dough and heat.
Yeah.
You put that around the camera, and the idea with that is it will cover up your scent. It will also cover up the scent of the camera or whatever matting you're using. If it's, if you buy this stuff, it's going to have some kind of a scent to it. So
Yeah,
everything you do to hide your scent if you've even been in there.
Yeah.
trying everything. We're experienced bow hunters here, so we know about the scent.
And with that even being said, we know that the scent has a lot to do with getting close to your game, but is it scent that actually may draw these creatures in closer to us? Or are they, I mean, look, what do they really have to be scared of? They're 6, 8, 10, 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
Is our scent really going to keep them away? I mean, when we were out there, it wasn't, scent had no play when we were having wood knots. Scent had no play, did not come into play when you and Dylan had the sighting when we were doing all gas and no brakes. People had the perfumes on and everything like that.
Yeah.
So is it really a deterrent or an attractive?
Yeah, they'll walk right by your vehicle if you have it parked by your camp or something like that. For that matter.
Right. So I mean, really, with scent, it can go 50-50.
Yeah.
But from my experience, scent does not have anything to do with it being a deterrent from them.
Well,
Well, in the case of the camera, maybe, but
Unless you got a smelly camera, yeah.
You smell the camera. Okay, I'm not walking over there.
Make it. Well, we're gonna
But you
put
never
the
know. I mean, you always
bacon
got to
on it.
try, switch up your game, try things new.
Yeah.
You know, even your clothes. When you go out in the woods, your clothes are going to leave an odor. You know, you washed them. Like when I do hunting and that, I use a cover-up spray, and I've researched it for years. I use a cover-up spray, and it gets rid of my smell. What they're not afraid of is smoke. I've actually had deer and other things come in me when I've had a smoker going, a charcoal fire going to keep warm.
Yeah, around
What
the
they're afraid of
campfire.
is the charcoal fire itself, but the
Yeah.
smoke actually draws animals in. They're curious to the smell of the smoke.
Yeah, we
And,
noticed that too. Yeah.
and it
Abe.
also covers up your scent.
Yeah. Abe, I have to ask you about. I remember one video where you guys were dusting some windows or a sliding door for
Yeah,
prints. Tell us about that.
gee whiz. So this was really just a county northwest of me, where I live, and this guy, um, on his property, he or his brother have a casting that's pretty amazing. So I go, he gets a hold of me. I go out there, and on his sliding door, man, this is amazing. Roughly about, let's see, I'm 6 feet tall. This thing is probably another foot or so, maybe 7 foot tall or whatever. There's a couple of, or a good smudge mark that does have dermal ridges. Um, it's up in, oh gosh, up left. So if I was up in the right hand corner, maybe, I forget what corner it was, but nonetheless, yes, I was taking these, I pulled it off, and I sent it into a light and fingerprint examiner. Um, Jimmy Chilcutt, he was actually on Monster Quest, uh, and he said that to him it looked like it was an elbow print or a knee print. And I'm thinking, what the heck? What an elbow print? I mean, this print is like probably twice the size of my thumb. Um, and I was just looking at it the other day at home, going through stuff. It, it, I can't say it was Bigfoot. I can't say it was Bigfoot, but nonetheless, it happened where this guy has had Bigfoot activity. It was on his deck. This creature would have had to walk up the stairs and get up the stairs onto the deck to be able to look in. And, um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, but nonetheless, collect it when you're in doubt. Just collect the evidence because you never know what really is going to pan out to be.
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Having that
Yeah,
name.
those are pretty big.
Yeah, where do you find a kit like that?
Well, I mean, you can. I got it from.
Amazon.
No, actually,
I'm just kidding.
it's the FBI store. Yeah, it's evident crime scene.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, Google it. You might be able to find them on Amazon too.
Yeah, go find some. Because any evidence of prints or anything like that on vehicles or anything like that?
Again, I was down in Iowa at this habituation place, um, and they had these very very small prints on a Corvette. It was a yellow Corvette that they had, and I lifted them. Again, I sent them off to Jimmy Chilcutt, and he could not make heads or tails of the prints. He couldn't say that they were human or non-human primate. Other than that, that's pretty much what I have printed so far. Because yeah, hoping to do a lot more. Um, and we're ready. We're prepared. I mean, we got the stuff to do it. So hopefully somebody will have some prints and give us a ring, and we can go out there and do it. And lift them.
That's
I'd be
great.
interested.
Great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, I think a lift printing kit should be essential to any field researcher.
We'll add that to my list for sure. Check that out today.
But there is a technique to it, I guess, from what Jimmy Chilcutt told me. Because I mean, if you press too hard, you're going to smear the prints, and they're going to. But if you do it too light, you're not going to pull them up. So you got to have just the right touch
Gotcha. Okay.
practice.
Interesting. Yeah, we should try that. So you guys have been on finding Bigfoot as well.
2016. Yep, Animal Planet finding Bigfoot. Yeah, it was a great time. We were out in the area up where we had Bigfoot activity in the past, and we took them out. And Cedar Swamps Pops was actually scanning for a while about this. Well, here, Pops, why don't you want to tell them what you were doing, how your involvement was with all that?
Well, we did an NPR show in July.
Hey, Mike.
I believe it was in July.
Yeah.
Can't remember
We know because we did the filming for Animal Planet in July.
Okay, so the NPR show was like about a month before that.
Was it earlier that spring?
Yeah. So after the NPR show aired, I got contacted by Animal Planet, and they were interested in me doing guide work for them, taking them out to locations. So I did that for a few weeks. Abe and I'd go by myself. Sometimes Abe would be with me. We take the producer out, and they ended up using one of the locations for the opening night filming.
Yeah, yeah. And then I was talking with them probably about February of that year of 2016, and then it just all unfolded and unraveled where they picked the location, as you mentioned, to where he scouted out. And lo and behold, I mean, so it was us, Matt, Cliff, Renee, and Bobo, and so we split it up. And as you guys may have seen on the show, if you guys watched it, it was me and Renee and Bobo and Matt and Cliff and Pops or Mike. We split up in two different spots and went out to two different locations. Lo and behold, we were doing knocks and stuff like that, and there was a return knock that was coming out of the cedar swamps. So that was really cool. There may have been two knocks possibly heard, but one definite.
We cut a lot out of that, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, you do more filming, and then after the editing on the top block, it gets put into about 45 minutes. So,
That one of the photographer or camera guys was going back to base camp, and he was being followed, and he freaked out. And we also had something around us moving around in the woods as well. And that could have very easily been a curious bear for a matter of 5 minutes. It could have been a moose. I've actually had moose follow me in the woods. But they cut all that out of the show. I mean, it was interesting, especially that camera guy that freaked out.
he's a good friend of mine. Yeah. Yep. He said maybe I should have him at the conference. Or he'd like to come out to the conference on here. Yeah. So it was fun. We had a great time doing that. That was my second time on finding Bigfoot. The first time was back in late 2000, fall of 2014. It was actually Moose Lake episode. This was where they were. Yeah. So at that time, we just kind of sat around and we had a little powwow Bigfoot stuff at this one hidden cabin resort, not resort, but cabin area where there was alleged Bigfoot activity. But yeah, it was fun. It was great fun, great experience.
Yeah, so many
But yeah,
different.
it was great. And I've known Cliff and Bulbs for years. I mean, from doing MN.B.R.T radio. Yeah, Galdang. I just talked with Cliff earlier this week, and he's doing great. He's out in the woods and stuff, out in Bourne, Oregon, and he's there's a few sightings out there that he's on the heels of, so he's doing really, really good.
I've listened to a few things with those guys some years ago now. What Bobo had said, probably one of the smartest things I've ever heard anybody say. And there's some people's thoughts about these guys, whatever, who cares? But he was being interviewed on a TV show or a radio show, and somebody had asked, "How do I keep them away from my house?" He was like, "Put up trail cameras."
Yeah. Yeah, put up trail cameras. Yep, absolutely. Yep. And you know, and it is. So I mean, that's what I said. I wish you guys good luck when you deploy your 48. I don't use them anymore unless I'm going to put them around my campsite, because it seems like there's been a lot of people who've had them come in the campsite, and so who knows? And
yeah, there's. Go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say there's a couple of cameras we do keep with us at the campsite. So then I
Yeah.
like to set one up over there and then have it just on and recording the whole time.
Right. Yeah. There was one instance when I was down in Ohio, or not Ohio, Iowa, and it was along the Des Moines River, and there's one creek that flows into it. And at that point where the creek meets the river, um, there, I set a baby carrier, one of my daughters, a baby in a car seat with a fake doll, with a Discman with my son, with baby crying sounds. This was maybe 2000. It was baby crying sounds. 2008. No, it was 2009, 2010. Excuse me. And I just had that baby crying sounds on loop and loop and loop. And me and my team member, my brother, we go walking down just to check on it to see if it's going. So as we're walking down, we had timber on the right hand side, cornfield, because I mean it's Iowa, on the left hand side, and coming from the timber, we hear woo, and it was followed by one single wood knock, and we were like, whoa. And so we go in, and I run in there a little ways to see if I can hear anything running off or taking off. I didn't hear anything. Stood there for a little while. I was like, huh, we're being watched. So we go back down to that where I had that trap, and I just kind of started everything all over. Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, I've heard the whoops, I've heard the chirps, I've heard the whistles. I heard what sounded like Ric Flair being in the woods from something I did in the Ohio Hall, and the reply I got was woo, woo, woo. And I was not alone. Actually, I was hired to guide people out in this one spot, and they were also able to hear all of that going on. I had my camera in my hand, and I thought I was recording it, and I'm looking at my camera, and it says in green, ST by for stand by. Like, what? No way! Oh my gosh!
Oh man,
So, yeah, it happens, right?
it happens. Yeah.
That happened to me too. I thought I caught eye shine like down beside a tree up pretty high actually. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna record, and then it was like card full. I was like, what? I've only been using this for like an hour. I haven't even been recording the whole time. It was just all of a sudden my card was full.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, yep. I mean, I think I got about a 256 gigabyte
Yeah.
card in my camera. And that's another thing. We're a no-kill team. I mean, we will shoot it if we are threatened. I mean, it's going to be them or us. But we're not out there to kill them. We're not out there to shoot them. We're not out there to harvest a body. We will shoot it with a 4K or a thermal imager or something like that, and that's it. I mean, we want to help preserve, protect, and conserve their land. You know,
And you want people aware as well.
well, yeah, bring the awareness to this creature. I mean, the biggest injustice that I see right now, and that's seems to be really, really trendy, is them being associated with aliens or interdimensional or portals and stuff like that. What hominid in our past do we know that can go through a portal or jump through a dimension or turn invisible or cloak itself? What primate do we know that can do any of that? Nothing. Has there ever been documentation of a portal besides on Stargate? I mean, seriously though, besides TV? No, there's not. The only things that have kind of been associated with these, and who's to not say that it's just happenstance or coincidence that maybe there was a Bigfoot sighting where there was strange light, or orbs. Orbs is another one. People say that orbs are coming off the ground, they're floating around, they're coming in different colors and stuff like that, and there's a Bigfoot sighting, or they hear knocks or stuff. Maybe the Bigfoot's just in the area where these things are at. There's just so much folklore that is built up that what it's going to take, in my opinion, and every team member has their own opinion. But for me, I think if we stay and we bring that stuff out to the public, people already think Bigfoot's crazy enough as it is. You guys are weird. You guys are on drugs. You guys are looking for Bigfoot. It's not real. But when we add that special, what we're trying to do, we're trying to get vindication for it and legitimize this being our creature. It's gonna be even more of a laughing stock. Let's save that. As researchers, we got to keep an open mind. When we close our mind on that, then we're not doing proper research. But as field researchers, yes, let's put it on the back burner. And once we start getting of these creatures and their habits and their culture, if it is associated with them, then we can start building on what we've already heard and what we already know. Let's just not go full blown willy nilly out there and start saying, yeah, it was a portal and then they disappeared, or it was right there and it disappeared behind a tree. There's never been anything documented like that, at least to my knowledge. If there is, I would love to see something like that. So,
Yeah, everybody's fairly quick to go and jump on the old you know paranormal bandwagon pretty quick because
oh,
it's the only way they can explain it. But at the same time, it's like you can't unless you get it documented. You actually have it on video of a portal opening and them walking in and disappearing. Then maybe we might have something.
right.
But then we gotta check
You
that
know,
video out for make sure it's not CGI.
oh, yeah, absolutely. It would have to be scrutinized as much as the Patterson Gimlin film has been scrutinized for the
Yeah.
past 50 plus years. Which that and the Freeman footage are probably some of the two best, very, very awesome pieces of film footage that are out there. But to be taken as serious, I mean, let's think about it. Science, unfortunately, wants a cadaver, wants a body. I don't know why, because I don't know where you guys think, but I think the governments already know that they exist, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
why are they withholding it? I think a field researcher such as our team and you guys, if we can go out there and we can find a body and take a piece of that body, a significant piece, and have everything documented, if it's collected in a scientific method, using scientific mannerisms, gloves, protections, masks, and everything like that, and have everything documented, so they can't say that it's corrupted uh,
Human DNA.
sampling or something like that. So the scientific way is going to have to be the way to be taken serious. And when science starts meeting woo, is what we call it, or portals and stuff like that, science don't want to have anything to do with us, unfortunately. But when you have your teams that are out there that are on that scientific discipline, then they're more, I guess you could say, opt to take a look at your samples. So I think the scientific mannerisms and collections of possible evidence is what it's going to take, and hopefully you come across a cadaver or a dead body or something like that as well, and document it and take whatever piece you can of that body to help legitimize that and get everything documented and say, hey, hit the public with that. This is what's going on. Bigfoots are real. And here's the scientific papers. This is how we collected the evidence. And you know what? This is real. But again, like as I mentioned before I got into this rant, because
Oh,
I,
it's all good.
I think that's a whole paranormal aspect of this critter to be taken seriously. We all know about that. We've all heard about that. But let's put that on the back burner now. I mean, let's not look at like we're all kooks. Everybody in the Bigfoot community as being kooky. There are some of us that have put in 40 years and 26, 28 years in doing this and reading and being out in the field research where we want to get vindicated. Be like, yeah, well, we've seen what we've seen, and hopefully we come across something. And I think as a community in whole, we should have that support for one another. I mean, Pops and I will help people. We talk with people. We'll help them. Just like we're bouncing off ideas back with you guys here right now. And I think that support and network is vital. What may work for one may not work for another, depending on the area or the clan of the Sasquatch as well.
We've talked about science needs a body.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree.
Now it's a matter of just trying to find a bone, perhaps even.
That would be great. I mean, a huge femur or
Never know.
skeletal remains that look like King Kong. Who knows?
But is that going to get buried though? Like a lot of the
Well, that's the thing. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. That's the thing. I know we have acidic soils in some places. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
you were saying?
I certainly believe they bury their dead.
Yeah,
That could
How
be.
often you find a bear carcass in the woods?
Right.
That's a good example. I found one bear skull in my entire life.
yeah.
I believe they bury their own when they pass on.
Yeah, I thought that too. So yeah, and going back to the governments knowing about these things and just not telling us about it. You must have heard the story about the extraction of the bodies from Mount St. Helens after it blew.
Yep. Yep.
Personally, I know of 3 scenarios with the government. One was the dash cam video I got to watch from the sheriff's department, the one crossing the highway.
Mhm.
The second one was pictures taken from a helicopter above the power line, and the third one Abe knows about. That's where that DNR official was chased off the river just south of here. And we actually did an overnight and filmed that. And so there's no doubt in my mind the government knows what's going on. I mean, if you were to find one and tell the wrong people, you'd have your place surrounded to get the body.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Right.
let's face it, they've been seen on military installations, Edwards Air Force bases, military bases, and things like that. There have been people, military, going out and do the military exercises, and they've been seen with the night visions that they use, the 3, 4 generations,
Yeah.
the really high grade night vision stuff. So my good friend, he's seen one as well. God, yeah. Oh my gosh. He's yeah, Todd Neese. You guys know Todd Neese at all? He was back in '93. He had his sighting while he was doing demolition. Um, but now he's since retired. Actually, he was just here last July. But no, I mean these different government installations, military installations, they have had them on their bases and stuff. So I mean, why are they not? The government's not coming out.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing to me that some of them get over these 15-foot, 20-foot fences around these places. Like, how do they get through them? How do they get over them?
Right.
Did they
just
jump?
They jump.
You ever stop and think, though, if we could prove they exist beyond a shadow of a doubt, it might just prove the evolution of man. I
Yeah.
firmly believe their missing link had never evolved. The first one I seen had a man-like face on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like a prehistoric face, the forehead protruding out and a big nose and all dark in color. The fur was dark on it. I mean, it was like looking at a prehistoric man on one of them movies.
Yeah.
So I mean, who's to say it's not a missing link that came across the land bridge?
Yeah.
Thousands of years ago when the land bridge was still from Europe to the United States. They were simply not evolving like modern man was, so they got out of there. They went to an area in North America, all around here, simply to survive. They didn't have the competition of modern man as they did over in Europe. But what if we could prove that they are a distant relative of ours? That would throw a lot of things out of whack as far as the evolution of man goes. Government
Yes, it would.
doesn't know that either.
I mean, and again, that would even come to play if you believe in the whole evolution versus creation part. So,
Yeah.
I think God. I think personally, I think God made them who they are and what they are. But they're definitely. I mean, they had a hybrid. There's hybrids now because they have to have their bloodline. They have to have their species living longer. So that's why we hear a lot of stories about possibly missing 411. Why was Albert Ostman kidnapped? Was it for the daughter of the one? And how about these Native American women that get kidnapped and carried off, coming back with babies? So we know
Yeah.
that they're hybrids. Is it the hybrids that are more tamer than the non-hybrids? Are they more aggressive? There's so
Point.
many answers, right? But we do know from um, inbreeding that having, I guess you could say, more of an anger issue is more due to inbreeding. And of course, when we have inverterization, then we have deformities taking place too.
Right. Right.
Stay
It's
away
like
from your pussy.
the redheaded stepchild. 'Cause those red ones are they're the aggressive
Those
ones.
are the feisty ones, man. Yeah.
The black ones. What about the black ones? Every time I've only seen black ones, and every time I come across a black one, I'm seeing the ass end of them as they're taken off away from you.
Well, that's all I've ever seen is black ones. So
I've never seen one. I have never seen one to this day. I mean, I've been chased by one, or bluff charts, whatever. I've had them come on that one time, two other times here in Minnesota, walking out from the woods towards me, but they never got clear enough where they turned invisible. No, I'm just kidding. I play that. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I've never seen one yet. But I've been where they've been. I've walked where they walked, and I've seen what they've seen, and so has Pops. And we are right on the heels of them. Again, we're going to a location later on this afternoon because of the recent activity that has happened. I guess you could say since 2016, even more so recently in the past few months.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll show you what brand of FLIR to get. Or I'm sure you got a FLIR. I mean, night vision. There's like a night vision camera that you might want to grab a hold of.
Yeah, and it shows
Worked
color.
out for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and it records it. Actually, yeah,
Yeah, for
I'll
sure.
definitely take a look at it.
You probably already have one.
Well, I mean, right now the night vision I got is the FLIR, which is actually charging up right now as we speak. But I got two Sony 4K cameras that have IR capability. But I also know that there is a camera out there that um, really does well in recording in low light to no light. Um, and yeah, I want to get my hand on a couple of those too.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And they have different levels of that. There's like a top one, different tiers, a top tier, middle tier, and a lower tier too. So, but yeah, I mean, I'd be more than interested to hear what you guys are using.
Yeah, for sure. What else are we missing?
What else
I
is-
know we're going to miss something here. I'm going, as soon as we get off, it's like, oh,
We should have talked about this. Should have talked about that.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. I was just thinking about something here. We were talking about the body part, and then we segued into something else, and then I was gonna
Well, one
ask-
thing I wanted to bring up while you were bringing up your thought was I've heard of the stories where people have either shot it or whatever it's been killed, and they call like exactly the wrong people, and then the body's taken away.
The
And
MIB.
like, oh, what are you talking about? We don't have that. What are you talking about? I'm like, well, as the person that did that came across the body, why did you not take a bunch of photos? Like, in that point, why didn't you think to take some photos? I can understand seeing a live one in front of you and not thinking to pull out your camera, but here you got a dead one, document it, videotape it, and then okay, you might have to call somebody, and if they take it, at least you have your video and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And document them taking it too. So you can say, yeah, and this was the license plate on the car that they drove off, and here's a hair sample of the person. No, can we match this up? Yeah, it's funny that you even bring that up because yeah, the MIB has come on. The Men in Black, when I say MIB, has came and to different few locations, not with us, but it's been recorded and documented and said by some people who are absolutely afraid of speaking out, which they have, but they have been blurred out and their voice has been altered.
Wow, we'll try and get the MIBs on trail camera.
Yeah.
They
There you
show up
go.
at our place.
Yeah, yep, it's crazy stuff, man. This whole field of research, it's really, really fun. And Pops and I, we have a great passion that we share. That's one of the things that we love together, and we have a great friendship. I love the guy. I trust him with my life, and we have a great team of guys, and our team is growing. And so, I don't let anybody just on the team. We don't want anybody just on the team. I want to be able to trust the person with my life. I mean, I'm sure you guys have that same love and brothership between your guys yourself. You guys trust each other with your lives, and no man left behind type of situation.
Mm.
Oh, and besides that, he can run faster than I can.
So that's why I love going out in the woods with him. I just have to document everything.
Yeah.
Just check us out. Our website is MN.B.R.T.com. Our Facebook page is our Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team, Minnesota Bigfoot Conference. Pops just started a page on Facebook called Pops Bigfoot Hunter. Go check that out. And other than that, we have the Minnesota Bigfoot Conference coming up Saturday, October 5th this year in Grand Rapids, Minnesota at the Timberlake Lodge and Hotel. Our speakers as of right now are Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Scott Nelson, crypto linguist. We have Michael Freeman, the son of Paul Freeman from the Freeman footage, and Lyle Blackburn, cryptozoologist, and who's done a lot of research on the Legend of Bodies Creek, the cult film from the early 70s. It's going to be off the chain. And yeah, stop by our pages, give us a like, give us a follow. We're also on YouTube here, Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team, or we have another one called MN.B.R.T. That's an older one. So there's that, and we have Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team TV Facebook page as well, where you can see a lot of our stuff when we're in the field, and we upload stuff to that. But the longer stuff goes on YouTube, and we'll put the link on MN.B.R.T. TV.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
So we're all over the place.
Well, that's good to hear. You guys seem
Except for
busy.
Twitter. And yeah, we try to stay busy. Of course, the colder months are the slower months.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh, that sort of came to mind here. Most of your reports, when do they tend to come in? Usually it's in the spring, right up till probably the beginning of deer hunting season, I'd imagine, right? That's
Yeah,
the bulk
you're
of
right.
your reports,
For,
right?
for me, most of my reports up here start around March. And the reason I say that is because of the cabin people who own cabins up here, they're gone all winter and then they come up in the spring around March, April. And, they get out on their four wheelers. Up here, there's hundreds and hundreds of trails to ride four wheelers on up here. So I've got some really good reports in March, April. And then like Abe was saying too, we get them from deer hunters, people out in the deer stands. I got a really good report to a friend of mine and his wife. They're avid bear hunters, and they were scared off their stand last fall by this Bigfoot that came in, and with the vocalizations it was making and the noise it was making, it actually scared them to where they got off their deer stands. And they're both sitting out in the stands with high-powered rifles waiting for a bear to come in. And the coolest part about it, this happened probably less than 6 miles west of me. I know the trail. So I want to get in there with them, get the exact location. I'd like to spend some time out there at night and see what would happen. That's an easy one.
But yeah, absolutely. I would say end of March when things start warming up into April when the temperatures start dropping, if not even more. So April, May. I know May is a pretty active month as well. But yeah, pretty much until the leaves fall and the snow starts flying right up there. We've had an oddly warm winter here in Minnesota where we didn't have a whole lot of snow, not a lot of snow like we need or usually have, or the cold for that matter. And there was an actual sighting of one looking through a window at a kid eating, and he seen it and he said there was big red eyes looking through this window of the house, which was up a ways. And so I'm looking to hear. I'm waiting to hear back from those people. But yeah, spring all the way up until about fall, early winter.
Sounds like just like our situation up here too.
Ontario.
Most of our sightings basically run the gambit, much like you guys, like spring
Yeah,
right
it sounds like
into
it.
fall.
We do know of one guy that during snowfall last year got a 22 and 16-inch prints in the snow. But I think it was the only time he'd ever seen footprints in the snow.
And there's another question:
Yep.
where do they go during the winter time?
Yeah, where do they go in the winter?
Exactly right. Okay, so my whole thought on that is that they're as Pop just said, the tamarack swamps. Tamarack swamps never really thaw or freeze. They kind of carry a certain temperature year around, so they don't freeze. The other thing is that pine or evergreen trees, they hold a temperature too, and that I don't know if you guys noticed that, but usually around the pine trees or the evergreen trees at the bottom, they're the ones that usually thaw or melt when it comes to snow before any other trees. They're closer to the ground. They can hold the heat more. So there's one theory, and again, this is all speculative because we really don't know. Nobody really knows. Do they go subterranean in the cave systems where it holds a certain temperature year round in some areas?
You don't have that up here.
Well, yeah, mines. Yeah, mines. There's mines out there.
What they'll do up here in the winter, and from what I can figure out is they'll use body heat to stay warm back in the tamarack swamps. And who's to say when they kill a deer they don't use the skin wrap up with the deer skins or say a bear skin.
Right.
Makes sense. I mean, I've seen where they've
True.
ambushed deer. You know,
I think they do use.
another show just on how they ambush deer I could tell you about. But so they are capable of, you know, pulling a deer skin off a deer, you know, and then actually using it to wrap in, and then like I say, body heat. So,
I've heard one story I read. Somebody was, I think, sorry, I don't remember it exactly, but there was somebody ended up into a cave. It might have been a child,
Albert Osman, I think.
and then there was deer skins on the floor of the cave. They obviously know how to skin them.
Could be.
Yeah. It's a great field of research, man. It's been fun.
I think they go down to Florida. They go down to Florida.
They hang out with the skunk ape, don't they?
Yeah.
They just follow our Canadian geese down there. So.
down in Panama.
Yeah, right. Getting a tan in the Everglades. That's great.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna, I guess, wrap this up. Well, you guys can get out in the field there. I know you guys are itching, I'm sure. I
And
know we are.
scratching. No. Well, we appreciate you guys for having us on.
Scratching.
He's always scratching. No. And
Took yourself
yeah, we appreciate
tips.
you guys for having us on and give us the opportunity to come on your show. And you know, hopefully somebody walks away with something just a little bit more than what they did coming into the show. That's all we ask, is that would mean the world to us.
Leave a comment in the section, sir.
And we've been talking to Abe Del Rio and Mike Huxum, aka Pops, of the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Awesome,
on.
guys.
Thank you very much.
Watch on.
Watch out.